Throughout U.S. culture, and particularly in the mainstream media, women and girls are depicted in an increasingly sexualized manner. What happened to innocence of our children? We gave that power away when we allowed the entertainment companies to dictate so many of our choices for us. Britney Spears wears a leather dominatrix outfit, pre-head shaving, in her Toxic video, with a whip, so edgy. And Jessica Simpson struts out for Pizza Hut, with her, Daisy Dukes, with a salivating 13-year-old looking at her, and she drops the pizza bite, in his mouth, leaning over with her, chest in his face. And of course, Paris Hilton, this Carl's Jr. commercial, sudsing up the car in what can only be described as a soft porn image, sidling up to the front of the car. And of course, Madonna was the one who brought us all this. Papa don't preach, Papa don't say anything at this point about any of this stuff that's going on. She actually seems tame by comparison today with what's happening. By the way, what is Nicole Richie's talent? Can someone tell me? Why is she famous? I have no idea. And poor Britney Spears. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to pigpile on her, but how do you go from M-I-C-K-E-Y to A-L-A-N-O-N? Okay? You have all these opportunities, and this is what happens. But we immerse ourselves in these absurd details, these extraneous details of these people's lives by whether picking up a tabloid or having it, come at us 24/7, and even news shows. The Today Show is now treating these people like news. And it is the pornification of the culture. There's nothing that describes it better. So what do we do about it as people? How do we react to Larry Flint and Hugh Hefner becoming mainstream media celebrities? Jenna Jameson, one of the biggest porn actresses ever, becoming a welcomed figure on the mainstream media scene. In fact, back to Arlen Specter, Jenna Jameson has made hundreds of millions of dollars in these hideous films. She and her boyfriend received a VIP congressional tour last week from Arlen Specter's top staffer. And Specter was then asked about it later. He said, oh my goodness, I had no idea that's who it was. I didn't know anything about that. Well, come on. I mean, really? Is that really true? So, this can't be what we want to leave behind for our kids. Or is it? Is it what we want to leave behind for our children? And no, thank you. And a lot of people would try to say, well, Laura, they can just turn it off. You can turn this stuff off. Well, no, you can't, actually. You can't turn it off, and parents shouldn't be forced to have a death grip on the remote control when you're watching a Texas football game. All right? You shouldn't have to live like that. But we've allowed it to happen because we became too afraid to speak up, or we didn't want to waste the time by writing down the names of the sponsors of particular shows with particular messages or commercials that are offensive. We didn't want to do it. And now we see the sewage around us, and we wonder, how do we swim out of this? Well, I'll tell you, what's going on across this country, which I've seen in these 15 cities that I've toured, is a mini spiritual and cultural revival. We have parents taking a more aggressive role in the upbringing of their children, not letting them just go out the door in the morning and come back at night and say, how was your day? Good, glad. What do you want for dinner? Parents understand now that with the new media and all of its benefits come so many perils. And that means you can't do what I call PlayStation parenting. It's got to be hands-on parenting, and parents are now understanding that after, frankly, learning some hard lessons. What I had in my house growing up, and we did not have a perfect house, believe me. That's another book. That's the real memoir. But what we did have is a lot of classics. My dad was a big jazz, fanatic, so we had Oscar Peterson and Ella Fitzgerald, Anita O'Day, Sarah Vaughan, they had Art Tatum, just incredible